Hello and welcome to the Old Garage number 62. I'm Wild Bill. We've got questions, answers, silliness, and shout out, so let's get to it. And the first question actually came from the last The Old Garage. This was from Super 44 Lover. And the question is, I forget, have you gone into detail as why your interest wanes at the point that it does? Okay, well, he's referring to my channel stopping right at, 1932 is about as far as I'm really going to go. And my interest is there because, well, quite frankly, as I've said on the channel before, I was right around 4 years old when I encountered a 1914 Stutz Bearcat in a gas station and was fascinated by that car, and I've always just loved the really old cars. I do like, the 50s and 60s, the muscle cars and things like that. I mean, it's not that I don't enjoy them and know a little bit about them, but there are gazillions of channels out there about those cars, and so there's really, I didn't really see the need to try to expand the channel in that direction, because there's not much about when you get pre-World War I and you get really back into the automotive age. There's just not a lot out there, and so that's why I chose to do this, and so there you go. Okay, next question I had came from the Above Rubies episode. This question, James MacArthur. He asked, the photo at 6 minutes in shows all the cars with double tires. Was this for extra grip on the sand or for some other reason? Well, actually, another reason. That photo was actually taken during World War II and not during the actual campaign in 1916 that I was talking about. And for World War II, the Silver Ghosts had been additionally modified and upgraded. They had an armor upgrade, they had a weapons upgrade, and it increased the weight. And so they had to put the double tires on the front for that reason, to support the new upgrades. But yeah, that's an incredible car, that's for sure. But that's what it is. That was from World War II. World War I, they did not have them, and I just couldn't find a picture from that 1916 campaign. But that's what it is. It was done in World War II to compensate for the additional weight of the chassis. And had a couple questions from the Abner Doble episode. First one, actually, Sir Liv asked this, and he asked two questions, and we're going to do the first one first. It says, question for the garage. Do you see a possible alternative history where Abner Doble could have reined in his arrogance and perfectionism and made his steam cars into a mass market success, perhaps even able to challenge Henry Ford? And the answer I'd have to say is yes and no, because I don't think that Abner Doble was ever, or the Doble car for that matter, was ever going to go for the mass market. It wasn't. They weren't competing with Fords. They were competing with Rolls Royces. And frankly, if Rolls Royce, Henry Royce and Abner Doble were actually a lot alike, but one thing that Henry Royce had was Claude Johnson to rein him in and to keep his perfectionism and ego in check, whereas Abner Doble did not have that at his side. So I think that if Abner Doble had his own Claude Johnson, then the Doble probably would have been a major competitor in the luxury market, rivaling the likes of the Rolls Royces and the Fastinis and Delage and Duesenbergs of the time. So I think that would have been more likely to happen if somebody reined him in, because he needed some reining, that's for sure. And he also asked another question, and on Abner Doble, and so did James MacArthur. He asked one. The two questions are similar. I'll just read them both. From Sir Liv, he asked, there have been several attempts to produce a commercially viable steam car through the later 20th century, but none seem to have been as successful as the Doble. Why is that, do you think? Were Doble's innovations simply forgotten or never properly studied? And at the same time, James MacArthur asked, do you think these cars or something similar could be produced today for a reasonable price? Well, I really don't think that steam cars today make sense. And it's because of transfer of energy. Anytime you transfer energy from one form to another, you're going to experience loss. I mean, entropy does not exist. So, and the thing with an external combustion engine is that you're adding an extra step to create your motive power. And that's not efficient. So you're going to have losses. And yes, you can make a steam car today, but you have to, number one, make the steam. Number two, then that steam needs to be converted into motive power in the engine, and then that motive power needs to be converted into the actual motion of the wheels in order to move the vehicle. That's an extra step. Okay? If it's an internal combustion engine, then the step is you make the motive power with the combustion of within the engine, and then transfer that into the kinetic energy you need to move the wheels. An electric motor is no different. The electricity is moving and it's already there. You don't have to produce it. So I don't really think that steam-powered cars are going to make a comeback. I really don't. There's an efficiency loss there. Yes, you could make one like Doble and make it more efficiently today. We have computers to do what he was doing electromechanically. And so, yes, we could actually make one, but it just doesn't economically make sense. Okay, you just don't need that extra thing of having to make steam first with the other forms of power that we have. And even if you had a modern car that kept a boiler going all the time, well, again, that's not efficient. So, yeah. It'd be cool, but I don't see it as being viable in today's market. Okay, and those were the questions we had. So let's take some silliness here. And so it is springtime in Northeast Ohio. That's where I live, and in Northeast Ohio, the roads and what's on the roads and what's along the roads and near them change out here. And so I'm going to talk about my top 5 things that you find along or on the roads in springtime. And in no particular order, but number 5 are tore up lanes from snowplows. Yeah, the snowplows have been clearing the roads during the winter, and we had a nasty winter this year, between 24 and 25. And so now all the roads are just ripped apart. You got potholes everywhere. You've got torn up, the roads are just tore up. Okay, so that's the first thing that tells you it's springtime. And of course, number 4, I have road construction, because now they got to fix all the darn roads. Okay, because of everything that's been, all the new potholes and things that got pushed aside by the snowplows. Now they got to go fix the roads. So you got road construction everywhere. That's part of springtime in Ohio. Okay, and at number 3, I have motorcycles. See, during the winter out here, people don't ride those things because it's icy, it's cold, and it's just not biking weather. But in springtime, you start getting days where you can, pull out your Harley or your Indian or your Kawasaki or whatever it is that you got and go for a ride. And so you start seeing people on motorcycles on the roads in springtime. That's my number 3. Number 2, people. There's going to be people along the road. Again, winter, it's too darn cold to be out walking your dog, It's just, you just let him out in the backyard, and then when he's like, it's too cold, he'll come in. But springtime, you will obviously not the interstates, but in cities and in neighborhoods, you will see people out and about, which for the last 3 months or so during winter you haven't seen. So yeah, people are out. And number 1, bugs. You see, during the wintertime, the bugs aren't flying around. They're doing things that bugs do. But springtime comes, and all of a sudden now you've got the bugs are flying around, and they're hitting your windshield, and now you've got you got to deal with the bugs on the road. So yeah, bugs. That's the number one. So that's the silliness for this week. I do have a really cool shout out. And this guy's channel, it is Uncle Mark's DIY Automotive Fix-It channel. Found this guy recently. Actually, he commented on the cycle cars, but I went and checked out his channel. It's a cool channel because he not only shows you the things to do to get the job done right, but also shows you the things that happen when he tries to do it wrong. And I mean, it's a very honest channel. You know, if he makes mistakes, he shows you the mistakes so that you won't do it. And as well as showing you the final product. And it's not just cars, too. He fixes pretty much anything. My kind of guy, because I'm kind of like that, too. But anyway, that's what we have for the Old Garage number 62 today, and I will see you next time. Peace.